Thanks for the support as a channel member, Harold Rotmo. Oh, Mrs Wearmouth, the pre-shopping we're doing is going better than I ever could have hoped for. Even if we end up getting relegated, we're starting next season with the next Ronaldinho, the next Jarzinho, and the next Dunga in our ranks. That'll do, won't it? Yes, I'll try and stay in the Premier League as well. Hello and welcome to part 97 of Homegrown. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we could secure, I think mathematically even, we could secure our Premier League survival for the season. We're away against West Ham and we're at home against Leeds. There's still more games to play after this, but since you were last with me, we've had a couple of decent victories and a couple of fitness friendlies in there as well during the international break. But after that horrific run of form that we're on, Roberto Costabile just decided enough was enough. And we did lose to Manchester United, but in that Southampton game, he just decided, right, well, I'm having 4 goals in the first 32 minutes and then going off injured then. So that's what he did. A 10 out of 10 performance from Costabile, inspiring a 5-1 win. We then won a couple more games in friendlies to really keep the momentum flowing and took that momentum into an away game against Burnley, where we won 2-1 in our most recent game. So the Premier League table looking a lot healthier now than it was before. We're in 15th place, 32 games played, 37 points on the board. So still 6 games remaining. I think 1 win. And we're there. We're 10 points clear of Leicester and Wolves, who are in 18th and 19th place. We have better goal, in fact, same goal difference as Leicester, better goal difference than Wolves. I think we are almost there, and hopefully we can pick up that win in one of these games today. West Ham away might be a tricky one. Leeds at home should be doable. And we will be back tomorrow to finish off the season with Arsenal and Birmingham. And it might even go down to Birmingham on the last day. Birmingham are one of the teams in and around us. I hope it doesn't go down to Birmingham on the last day. But I did mention in the intro, I've been doing some pre-shopping. We're doing things a little bit differently. Now we're a fancy Premier League club, and we already knew what next season's budget was going to be. It was originally 30 million. I've already spent 20 million of it, and we are collecting young superstars. None of them are actually listed as wonder kids, but I'm finding it quite difficult to believe. We've already had Christian secured from, you saw him in yesterday's episode. This is the lad who is described as the next Ronaldinho, although it's not actually describing him as that anymore, which is a little bit of a shame. But following up from him, we went for Luquinas, who is an 18-year-old Brazilian under-19 international who is described as the next Jarzinho. If you're young, go and look up who Jarzinho is. Likewise, go and look up who Dunga is, because this guy, Rolando Pessotti, he's described as the next Dunga. I mean, imagine that, Ronaldinho, Dunga and Jarzinho. If they're half as good as the players they're being compared to, that'll be awesome. Pessotti won't actually come in until January because he has to wait until his 18th birthday to come in. But Christian and Luquinas will both be in the summer. In addition to our collection of Brazilians, we've got Damian Peresato coming in, who's the lad who we tried to bring in January, but couldn't get the deal done inside. He'll come in as the best right back at the club. He's, well, maybe not quite as good as Curry, but Curry, I want to potentially get Curry back into midfield. But Peresato is another one who can play left back or right back. He's an Argentine under-20 international. We've also got Janos Fazekas, who's an 18-year-old Hungarian full international, already 11 caps for Hungary. He's a centre-back who can also play full-back on either side, and theoretically will come in as the best centre-back at the club. He's come in relatively cheaply. And also Josu Martinez, who we agreed the transfer for a year ago, finally comes in and joins us this summer. He's our young Mexican goalkeeper. We didn't really need him. I agreed to sign him before Williams even came back to the club. We don't need another 5-star potential goalkeeper. It's a little bit of a waste of one of our 6 under 21 foreign players that we're allowed to bring in. But by my calculation, with Pessotti not joining us, oh, mind you, he's joining us in January, so I guess he does already count towards the number. So I think that is 5 of our 6 under 21 foreign players already done. So we've got room to bring in 1 more. I've spread them nice and evenly within the team. We've got a goalkeeper, centre-back, right-back, central midfielder, winger and striker, or could also play winger. So we'll try and bring in 1 more. It's going to be a big test of our scouts when these players actually finally arrive to see if they're as good as my scouts think they are. And my theory is the transfer window in the summer will then just be spent moving on the fringe players that we don't need to generate some cash and then reinvesting in English players then, because we'll have already bought all the foreign ones. So there'll still be stuff to do in the summer, but we're trying to get in for the South American Wonder Kids before everyone else does. That's the plan. Hopefully it doesn't end up completely backfiring. But enough about future players. Now is all about securing Premier League survival. And attempt number 1 is going to be away against West Ham. And this is the team we're sending there to try and do it. With one other piece of news. Ola Richards has won an award. He was second in the award. He finished runner-up in the Next Gen award, which I guess that means he's quite good, doesn't it? Because looking back at some of the previous second place players in this, we've got Mbolo, Mbappe, Donnarumma, Vinicius Jr., Ansu Fati, Saka. Don't know who he is. And then it becomes new gens because it's all for young players. But it's some quite impressive selection of players there. And Ola Richards finishing runner-up on there suggests, presumably, he's considered one of the best young players in the world. I'm assuming what that means. And he can't get in our team at the moment because Richardson's actually in better form than him. Richardson is averaging an 8.38 in his last 5 games. So our backup left winger is considered one of the best young players in the world. The future's looking very bright here at home. So yeah, the team for the West Ham game. Williams in goal. A back four of McCartan, Davies, Cardona and Curry. Akani and Hodgkinson in midfield. Richardson, Blamplate and Renan supporting Costabile up front. If you're wondering where Connor Roberts is, don't worry. I've not dropped him. He is injured and he's going to be out for the rest of the season. He's got a torn hamstring. Also, Ali Basic is going to be injured and out for the next week or so as well. So I think that rules him out for both matches. He might be back for the Leeds game. But let's get into this West Ham game. Hopefully, grab a victory. I mean, that's all we need. One more win this season, and the job is done. And we can probably start rotating a little bit from there and try a few of these players that haven't really had much of an opportunity yet this season or could do with a little bit more game time. Jack Green still hasn't made his Premier League debut, which I'm sure some of you will have things to say about down in the comment section. But Alex Williams has been superb this season because he's Alex Williams. He's the next Peter Shilton. He's the future England number 1. That's why he's been as good as he is. But Jack Green might get some game time. There's a few others who could definitely have a little bit of time in the team as well. I've been very impressed with how we've played in these last couple of matches. I know we had that rotten run of form that culminated in the Carabao Cup final, but I think that was a blip more than anything that I am going to put down to us reaching the Carabao Cup final. I've seen it so many times before playing Football Manager, where as soon as you get a really big game on the horizon, whether it's a big cup draw or a European game or a final, as soon as you get that game on the agenda, form just falls off a cliff. It always seems to happen. The players, I don't know if this is actually a thing in the game or if it's just something I think is in there because I think I've seen it happen so many times, but it does seem like players get distracted by the big exciting game that's on the horizon, and whether they're saving themselves to try and avoid getting injured or they're distracted by it or what, it does just ruin form. And we came off the back of that. Narrow defeat against Manchester United, and we've been fantastic since. So I think it was just the cup run ruined. I wouldn't say it ruined the season, because if we stay in the Premier League, which it's looking like we're going to, then that's an overachievement for the season, really. So it's not ruined anything. And we did get to a final, but let's try and avoid that next year, maybe, if it's going to have that kind of negative impact on us. Right, let's tell them that, I mean, we're doing all right. We're 0-0 away against West Ham. I haven't checked to see where West Ham in the league, but to my mind, an away game against an established Premier League team like West Ham, if we can pick up a draw in a game like this, that's always going to be a good result for years to come for a club like us. We're not going to be a Champions League team for a little while, so away draws against West Ham are always going to look pretty good. They got in there though. Williams tried to make himself big, but the West Ham player got there first and just managed to drill it under him. And they have started the second half brightly. It's 1-0 to West Ham, 47 minutes on the clock. And they've knocked the ball around us very, very comfortably there. I can't wait for our new Hungarian defender to arrive to hopefully put a stop to nonsense like that happening. The only problem is it might mean a spell on the bench for Harrison Davies. I know there's been plenty of times in the past where I've written him off and he's proven that he's awesome. But I'm thinking Cardona and the new boy, they're probably going to be our longer-term central defensive partnership. Cardona, I think, has proved himself this season. And new boy, whose name I can't remember, I will learn it. He looks like he's going to be really, really good. So Harrison Davies might become, at the age of 28, a bit of a special attraction while we wait for him to have his testimonial and then hopefully join the coaching staff. I don't ever want to see him leave the club unless he decides he wants to leave. I know earlier this season when things were going bad for us, he was considering his options when there was a couple of Chinese clubs circling the waters for him. So it might be that Harrison Davies has given us 12 years of his career, has decided he's gone as far as he can with home, can't cope with not being the main man around here, and wants to go and earn gazillions in the last 4 or 5 years of his career over in China. And I'm not going to begrudge him the opportunity to do that. And we'll still be looking to bring him back as a coach when the time comes anyway. So it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for Sir Harrison Davies, but we won't make any rash decisions until we've seen if the new guy is as good as he looks. But we've already seen this season at the back, Joe Barr has kind of lost his place to Cardona. Alec Lay has been pretty much absent from the setup all year because of Cardona's arrival. And Harrison Davies might see himself pushed down in a similar fashion next year. And it won't be nice seeing Harrison Davies sat on the bench. Right, we're going to make a couple of substitutions here. Blamplate is not having the best of times. So I think we're going to bring on Grucock and push Hodgkinson further forward into that attacking midfield position. And have we got anyone who can come on and play up front? Of course we have. Sebastião, who is better as a pressing forward rather than an advanced forward. He scored the winner in our last game coming off the bench, replacing Costavile. So let's get him on there and you can have a little look at him. We brought him in initially to play on the right wing, but his natural position is as a striker. So he is pretty useful up front, although looking at his preferred roles, I think he's probably better suited to be a second striker. But who needs a striker when you've got Kenlyn Richardson in incredible form? He's going to be an England player before very long. That's his, did it say it was his 8th goal of the season or his 6th? It was one of those curly numbers. Either way, it's a very good goal return for a man who started the season in our under-23s and on the loan list and has made himself a very, very valuable part of this first team by grabbing every opportunity he's been given when he's got them. People always talk about me not giving my young players opportunities, and I've always said every player at the club gets an opportunity. They have to take that opportunity and prove they deserve to be in the team when they get the opportunity. And that's exactly what Richardson has done this season, because he was never supposed to be a starting left winger for us this year. Ola Richards is brilliant. I really like Ola Richards. I think Kenlyn Richardson is even better. And that's awesome. And we've picked up a point, which is also awesome, because again, it's one step closer to that 40-point target that we're looking for. If we can beat Leeds now, who are another team who are in and around where we are in this bottom half of the table, if we can pick up a win over Leeds, job done. Well, you're going to get to see Jack Green a little bit sooner than advertised, because Alex Williams has suffered a groin strain. He's going to be missing for the next 2 to 4 weeks. So Jack Green comes in to make his Premier League debut in this game against Leeds. Yeah, it is his Premier League debut. I was just making sure he never actually played Liverpool. He didn't. So let's see who was right, shall we? I want everyone to be right. I want Jack Green to keep a clean sheet and things to be beautiful. But I know there's been a lot of call for playing Jack Green, and I've shown this on the channel community page already a couple of days ago, just to show why we've gone with Alex Williams this year. For a start, he's got the highest average rating at the club, so I think that indicates the decision to bring Williams in. He's played very, very well, but you can see that Williams is ahead of Jack Green in all of the key attribute areas. He's got 4 stars rather than 2.5 stars for current ability. I know Green is taller. I know he has more potential, but this is our first season in the Premier League. It's not a season for potential. It's a season for playing your best goalkeeper. And that means Williams, he's better at physical, better at shot stopping, better distribution. Green's marginally better aerial. I know you're going to say, well, he's marginally better at all of them. Okay, so Green's better in the air. They're the same for eccentricity, but Williams has better communication, better mentals. Green is the faster of the two. You can compare it on the attributes as well to see where those big differences really are. And I know it looks like a lot of Williams' differences are in the mental side of the game. I mean, he was a former vice captain, whereas Green does edge it on some of the key goalkeeping attributes. But I don't know. I mean, well, I do know. Williams is the man. Williams came through our youth team. He's my boy. Jack Green, backup forever. He's a forever backup. Unless he fulfills that potential. If he turns into a 5-star current ability goalkeeper, at that point, he can push Williams out of his way. But Green does come in for this game against Leeds. That is the only change that we're making for the match. So let's submit the team and all eyes on Jack Green. If he has a good performance, then you lot can all celebrate down in the comments section that you were right all along. If he's rubbish, we can all be sad because it means an opportunity for us to secure our survival will probably gone by the wayside. It's one of those situations where I don't even want to be right, mainly because I already know I am right. So I don't need to prove it in a one-off match. Oh, this is like Twitch Kev. Trolly Twitch Kev. If you're not familiar with Twitch Kev, I stream like 3 or 4 nights a week. You should come and watch me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/LOLLUJO. I haven't plugged that for a little while. There you go. Pluggy. But it is fun. We like it over there. And over there, I'm a newly promoted Premier League side who are actually good because we've got money. So we've threw lots of money around and we've got the best wonder kid in the history of Football Manager playing for us. You should come and watch because then you'll know who that is. What day is this video coming out? Monday. Are we streaming tonight? 7 o'clock. Come and meet Sergio Tabakaru, unless I've already sold him because I'm recording this last Thursday. So there's every chance I've already sold him by now because he's too good for my Sheffield United team. But who knows? It's still 0-0, 22 minutes on the clock. And I mean, another draw here. 3 draws. I said we needed one more win. If it ends up being 3 draws, it gets us to 40 points one way or the other. It's an 11-point gap currently between us and Leicester with 3 games. Is it 3 or 4? I think it's 4 games to play, actually. If it was 3 games to play, this would be a big enough gap. But I think it's not quite. But a win should be enough to secure survival. Green in there making the stuff. I told you he was good. Never doubted him for a minute. Blamplate now with the breakaway opportunity down this right-hand side. Blamplate continues his run, getting himself into some good space here. Plays it back to Hodgkinson and now Akani. Where Nathan Curry is on the overlap. He finds him, plays it back in, looking for Blamplate. But it's a poor pass from Curry. And it left Blamplate with too much to do to get the ball back under control. And it does go out for the throw-in as we approach half-time. Best player on the pitch, again, is Richardson, who, by the way, is considered a model citizen. Not only have we got a player who's got some talent, he's got all the mentals as well. He is going to go on and become something very, very special. If he doesn't get 50 caps for England, then I don't understand Football Manager. And as we all know, I'm a Football Manager expert, so he's going to get 50 caps for England. I'm getting very much Lee Cook vibes from the Bourne save last year, where he came in to play in that role. He was a big, expensive player. I think, for context, we spent 40 million rather than the 14 we spent on Richardson. It was a little bit further into the experience with Bourne. But Richardson feels like that. Young English left winger, brought in from a team roughly of the same level as us. Fulham, a top championship side, whereas we're a bottom Premier League side. Certainly at the time the transfer was made. Brought him in for a lot of money. Looked like I was a madman, and he's turned out to be a star. And hopefully he continues to become better and better. Right. We are going to take off Nathan Curry and we're going to bring on, I was going to bring on Anderson because I thought I was being clever before because we don't have a substitute goalkeeper because Tristan McDonald's out on loan playing League One football, I think, for Oxford. I thought, what have I not got on the bench? A right back. But thinking about it now, I'm actually taking my right back off. I'm just going to put McCartan to left back and bring Francis on. So I didn't need to put Anderson on the bench as a right back. I could have put another attacking option down there. But we'll take off Renan. And you know what? We are going to bring Sebastião on again because I want to see more and more game time from Sebastião playing on that right wing this time. Although, now looking at it, I'm going to take Costabile off and I'm going to bring Onyango on. So I'm going to stick Sebastião up front anyway. So he can go up front as a pressing forward. Onyango in there as the inverted winger. And we've got 20 minutes to try and grab the goal that will keep us in the Premier League. 4 games to go after this one. It looks like Leicester have scored in their game, so it's come down to a 9-point gap again. So a goal won't actually secure survival for today. 1 goal especially won't because we've just conceded one. It's 1-0 to Leeds. And that does drag us back into the mix just a little bit. Luckily, Leeds are slightly above us, not slightly below us. But you can see Leicester are 1-0 up over Arsenal, which is not a result that we wanted to see today. And, an 8-point gap with 4 games to go. It's not impossible for us to be caught. It's still pretty unlikely, but we've not played very well today. After that excellent form that we'd been in, we've now played a home game where we weren't able to get a result. It's one of our final games at Stadium MK as well before we move into the new home of football. And it makes this next game against Brighton absolutely must win. So I think I'm going to change my plan for tomorrow's video. The plan was secure survival today and then just come back to show you how the season ended tomorrow's. But I think what I'm actually going to do, similar to what we've done in the past a couple of times recently, is we'll come back tomorrow for the Brighton game and then we'll just keep playing until we've played 2 games or we're safe or both. And then you don't need to see the Birmingham game on the last day if we're already safe. It's more important to see the game where we secure safety. And Brighton are now the team down in 18th place. We're 8 points clear of them. So if we beat Brighton in tomorrow's episode, that's Premier League survival secured. So that is the match that I want to be able to show you. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.